Are we live? Are happening? There we go.
Yeah.
Hurrah!
Apparently the stream status is bad, Dan. Fraser, can you...
You're live! There we go. We're on. Bloody hell. That was easy. Every week. There we go. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show Live. Finally.
Right, Fraser. Tilt it down a bit. You need to undo the thing on the right. Not that one,
That's
that one. Tilt it down a bit so we can't see the top bar. Come a bit closer, maybe. That'll do.
Hey, we're away. Hello, people.
Are we in? Are we in the game?
We're in the game. It's happening.
I don't know why this is so difficult. It's impossible every week. It's really boring. Research required.
Right,
Okay,
we're there.
we're on.
We're on.
We're
Okay.
on. Okay, welcome to Live VCQ. As always, the format is thus. If top chat is turned on, please don't do any top chat at this point, super chat. We're going to spend the first section of the show asking questions that came in via the comments from Friday's show, which was about choosing the best delay pedal for you.
Yes.
Sorry, the right delay pedal for you, not the best delay pedal. We're in. Good. Good, we're in. Okay, so we won't be looking at the comments for the first section.
Okay.
Thanks to BV, who's moderating today.
Yes, thank you, BV. Legend.
Yeah, let's get into it then. So on Friday we did a video called "How to Choose the Right Delay Pedal for You," which went down very well.
It did indeed.
It seemed to chime a chord, Dan. So lots of people identified with something I was talking about, which was just not understanding delay, and buying something like a basic digital delay and wondering why it sounds all crashy and not nice because you don't understand the parameters and all the rest of it. And those people included Stephen Hadfield, Manica Lion Tig Emperor.
I like it.
Manica Lion Tig Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that from a thing? From a?
It's from my I get that on a Friday night at my local Thai restaurant. It's delicious.
Gary Mosley and Davey Chainsaw all said that they had the same problem. There was a great deal of love for the MXR carbon copy.
It's a classic.
It is a classic.
Absolute classic.
A modern classic.
Yeah, it really
Think
is.
about George Trips for a second. George had a hand in the DL4
He did.
when he was at Line 6. Aquapus,
Yeah. That was his.
carbon copy.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one as well, another really crazy famous one that's his.
The Echoplex.
Yeah,
That's one of his. That
later. Yeah.
was a really good one.
So shout out to George Trips.
Yeah.
Yes, everything is good. Just to reiterate that we're not looking at the comments for the first section of the show, the live comments. This is about the questions that came in over YouTube over the weekend. Anyway, carbon copy lovers include Caleb at Matthews Guitar Works, Tony Cause, OK, Michael Hines, No Cover Charge, John Fritzen Jr. and Zemus.
Nice.
Yes, loads of people. And lots of people like the Vemiram Shanks ODS1 as well.
Oh, man.
Including John Dogwater. I think it's Dogwater. It should be Dog Walker, shouldn't it? But it might be Dog... Like Skywalker, Dogwalker. John Dogwater, John P., Colin McWilliams, and quite a few others.
And you and me.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Amazing.
That's the Vemiram Shanks ODS1. Interestingly, there's a lot of people who've got the hump with Vemiram.
Because they're expensive.
Partly because they're expensive. Also because there was that, the... what's the famous overdrive? The Jam Ray
Yeah.
is a bit like the Timmy.
Yeah.
Apparently it's an exact clone of the Timmy.
It's not.
No, it's not. It doesn't sound
Really
like
not.
it either.
It doesn't sound like it.
Anyway, lots of people have got the amp with Vemiram, and as a result, have similarly claimed that the ODS one is just a really expensive Nobles.
Yeah, but again, it's not. It's based around, like, you know, it's inspired by the Nobles, but it's not a Nobles.
Let's compare them side by
Okay,
side.
yeah, that's the
Would
only
be
way.
good to compare that to the little Nobles as well, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, we shouldn't do too many tangents, should we? But look how many
Really?
amps are based off of early Fender circuits.
Yeah. What's your favourite Marshall?
It's like, you know,
It's
this is a handful of circuits
Yeah.
in the amp world, or there was. Anyway, let's not go down that road. Okay, to the questions. Why, asks Alistair Rolliston, JT3483 and others, why didn't we include the Strymon Volante, Dan?
We did a really big show on it, and it was hugely popular. It's an amazing sound delay, and we sent it back to Strymon, and we haven't managed to get one since.
No, neither of us were motivated enough to buy one, were
No.
we? Which is unusual because it did sound
It
really,
sounded amazing.
really, 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 really good.
That's a very good point. Why weren't we motivated enough to buy one?
Yeah.
That's a very, very interesting point.
But the general point is the show wasn't really about specific pedals. It was
Yeah.
about generalities of sound. So what distinguishes an analog delay sound traditionally from a digital delay sound, etc., etc., etc. So it wasn't really about the pedal choice. It was more about, you know, those groups of delay.
Yep,
And
yep.
what might work for you. To wit, Aid Fajmizin, decided that we really know how to complicate a simple thing, Dan.
Sorry,
It's not simple, is it?
man.
One repeat on an echo is potentially simple, but it gets much less simple after that. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Aid, for your question. Johnny Be Good. Hey guys, help needed. I love doing wet dry, but some delay pedals in the wet chain cause phase inversion.
Yes.
The Boss RE20, the Line 6 Echo Park, also my Mua Electric Lady, and don't you know, the Catlin Bred Belly Puck Deluxe, because this is a problem I have too. Is there an easy solution? I use the AB Baby, but I don't want to switch the phase button constantly.
It's a real pain in the butt. The only solution currently is to have the so what we're talking about there is that the phase of the entire signal, including the dry signal, switches when the pedal gets turned on, right? The only solution currently is to have the delay pedal in its own loop, and in that loop you have a phase flipping device, all right, to keep it consistent. And you would need one for every pedal that flips the phase.
Yeah.
So currently that's the only solution. I may be working on something to sort that out.
That's interesting, Daniel. My solution is I leave the delay pedal on all the time, and I use an expression pedal to control the delay level.
And it's brilliant.
So in the case of the Belly Puck Deluxe, it really works because you've got the benefit of the preamp of the Belly Puck on all the time. So it's on all the time, therefore there is no phase inversion because you're not switching it off. And then in order to bring the delay in, just turn the expression pedal up when you want delay.
Magic.
Even better, when you're hitting that delay with various overdrive pedals, as users of effects loops will know, when you switch from the clean to your dirty channel in your amp, we'll get to this in a minute actually, you can get a massive difference in the amount of signal that's hitting the delay.
Yeah.
So that gives you on-the-fly control for delay level all the time. And it solves both of those
Yep.
problems.
That's really, really clever way to do it.
Andrew Bentley, funny how even though the Bell Epoch Deluxe is widely acknowledged as maybe the best tape emulator out there, the clarity of the real tape machine is totally on another level.
Just all I would say to that, I mean, yes, and which is the reason why I persist in taking a real tape delay with me to do gigs, because to this day I've never experienced anything like a great tape delay, and it's like,
Yeah.
stick a fork in me, I'm done.
I was amazed at how far the Belly Box Deluxe was off. So much that I'm going to sit down with it and just make sure I haven't done anything dumb
Okay.
with settings or whether there's an internal tone control or
I
something
think
like that. It was a mile away.
The massive misconception for me, and we've talked about this since the first tape delay we looked at years ago, it's that misconception that tape repeats are dark, and they're just not. They are. There's a way that they tail off, and there's a filter almost on the repeats, but the clarity and the there's just the fidelity of what's going on in those repeats is absolutely glorious.
Yeah.
And something happens. Once you've played it, and the signal goes onto the tape. All of a sudden, then that tape is its own thing now, and then that gets played back, as opposed to an emulation where it's constantly. Like, for example, an analog delay where that voltage is going down the bucket brigade devices, so the array of capacitors and transistors, and you've got the clock that tells you how fast it's going down there. That process, the difference between that process and the tape, like it's recorded to tape, and then once it's on the tape, it's totally removed from everything else that's going on until it hits the playback head, and so and I think that part of that process
Something to do with that.
is what makes that delay seem so separate to what's going on here. So when we could have the tape delay level right up, and as clear as it was, it still didn't sound like it was getting in the way of what's going on here. And that blows my mind.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
whenever I try to do that any other way, it's always mashing.
Yeah.
And as opposed to having like a carbon copy, which had really dark repeats, and then that doesn't get in the way. But the only way for me to have clarity in the repeats, to still have a high level, but not to clash with this, is tape.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I fundamentally don't understand why it should be
It's voodoo.
Yeah, I'm going to sit down though with that and the tape machine and just go, hang on a minute, why is this so far apart?
Yep.
Lots of people said, please can you do a show on what can get you closest to that tape machine?
Yeah.
So
we'll do that. That's a really good idea. Yeah, because there's so much in that. Okay, Will Goodfellow says, do my eyes deceive me, or is there now a third surf green guitar in the fold? We've seen the Jag and the Jazz, but what's the other?
There are actually two. Built by a carpenter whose name is currently evading me, which is really bad of me. I'm going to have to.
It'll come to you.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Okay.
It was literally as I was reading it, I had the name on my tip of my tongue. There is a psychological phenomenon for tip of the tongue theory. I'll remember in a minute. When it goes away. Anyway. He built these couple of guitars. There's a sort of a roughly T-shaped one and an S-shaped one that he sent to us that we just need to plug in and play and have a listen.
Yeah.
Very interesting construction.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, super interesting construction.
Okay.
God, that's terrible. I do know his name. I know his blooming name, and it's
Normally they're written on the headstock.
it's evaded me for 1 second, which is embarrassing.
Happens to all of us.
I know. I'll remember. In a
Welcome to Where I Live.
Welcome if you've just joined us on the live feed. We're not answering any comments just yet because we're going to work through the ones that came in on YouTube because people seem to like that. Actually, as Will asked that question, Will, hope your gig went well on Saturday night. Will did his first gig.
Oh, really?
Will, if you don't remember, is the guy with the Landau Strat that I love, the Sunburst one.
Man, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, which will be mine one day. Mark Veronda.
My Veronda.
Would it be possible to replicate a drum style Echo-Rec type delay using two different delay pedals, like if you had an analog and a digital delay in sequence?
Not really, because if you've got them in series, you've got one delay and your original tone going to another delay pedal, so that's delaying the original tone and the repeat. What's happening with the drum delay is same sort of thing that's happening with a tape delay. You've got the original signal, and then you've got a number of heads. Depending on the heads that you select, you have if you got heads say 1, 2, and 3 or 4 on, the first hit of the guitar will go bang, and then the repeats will go bang, 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 or bang, 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 bang. If you got 1, 3, and 4 on, it'll go bang, 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 bang. So you get that rhythmical pattern in the repeats.
But then does 1 go all the way around and come back to 1 again?
Well, it can do, because the recorded signal then gets put on the repeat section. That goes back onto the the playhead, which
So maybe the shorter answer is you can certainly do multi-head type sounds by having delay pedals in a row, but the signal will never get fed back on itself.
Yeah, but even the multi-delay thing, it's tricky. It is tricky.
The problem is getting it fed back into the loop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that right? Am I understanding that right?
It is, but also, if I get one repeat, right, I'm still going to, so one repeat into an analog pedal, for example, and that repeat gets repeated as, at a different time ratio. So but it's not going to be, it's really...
I think what Dan is saying is just buy a Boonar, an Echo Rec, or a Strymon Volante and have done with it.
It'll get you so much closer than anything that you can do by teaming up a...
Rob C. So here's a question. If you throw an analog delay in front of a digital delay and play, would the digital delay repeats get darker because they're repeating the analog delay from the analog pedal?
So depending on how the digital delay repeats filter off at the end, it'll take that echo of the echo sound of the analog delay and just reproduce that perfectly.
Exactly, yeah. The reason it works so well in the analog delay is because it degrades as it goes through those BBD chips.
Yep.
Which doesn't happen in a digital delay unless it's being simulated, of course, like in a modelling sense.
Yeah. Doing delays in series and parallel would be a really interesting show because there's lots that you can do with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
New Moose. Have either of you guys tried the Moog MF delay? Much more pronounced echoes than most analog delays and has a killer preamp. I've gone digital, but will not get rid of that delay.
So it depends. I can't. There's a number of Moog, food, wood. I guess there's a different way of saying. Okay, Moog. There's so many.
What food are you having tonight?
There's
down to the woads today.
Yeah. It was really good. There's Mooga Fuga did far out, man. They did so many variants of that delay, and there's
the MF delay is the one that's available now. It's just a small,
one.
Single pedal delay. Yeah.
Yes, I have tried that, and I've also tried, I believe, most of the large box formats ones.
They're glorious. We should get some Moog stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, talk about analog circuitry done brilliantly well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. I don't quite know why we don't have any.
I remember setting up the Moog, the small tremolo unit on Stephen Wilson's board years ago, and it's such a. It doesn't sound like any other tremolo I've ever used, and he absolutely loves it and has used it to this day in the studio and live. And
let's get some Moog stuff.
It's really interesting. But I completely agree on the preamp stuff. They really know their
Noise Code says, hey Dan, how you get along with the DD3 you picked up in Japan? I don't recall seeing it on the show.
It's in my board, and I use that in parallel with my ARDX20, and so I'll use that for my tight thickening delay, and then I'll blend that in with a long delay from the AXDX20. But it's a glorious thing.
Yeah, you did. You put it in your board, didn't you?
Yeah. So if you have a look at my board build, and it's there.
Yeah. RJ Roth has a question. On your advice, I ponied up for a Belly Puck Deluxe, but RJ is annoyed that it doesn't do tap tempo. Is there any way to do tap tempo? I did a bit of research on this, and apparently Disaster Area do something called the Micro Clock Tap Tempo Controller.
Yeah, so that will be done using a MIDI clock message,
Control
goes-
voltage, apparently. Whatever that is.
Okay. And yeah, through the marvels of MIDI,
Yeah.
it'll sort all that out.
Yeah. If you go to the disaster area website, disaster area, and look for the micro clock tap tempo controller, it lists the Belly Puck Deluxe as a pedal that it will
Awesome.
work with. So yeah, Chris Nilskog asked that as well.
Nice.
Thank you for that. Sanford Rogers. What causes self-oscillations, runaway ocelots? In delay pedals, and why do some pedals do not do this? The Visual Sound H2O version 2 is an analog BBD delay, but does not do the oscillation thing.
Okay. If you can imagine, you've got your sounds generation source coming in the input. That records, and then that hits the one side of that will go through, and the other side of that gets delayed. And so it's the mixture of those two things. You've got your through signal, and then you've got your delay signal, and they're layered on top of each other. But then what happens is that delayed signal, you then get a feedback loop from the delayed signal back to the input, right? Now, that there's a gain stage and a buffer in that, and it depends on, if you can imagine, it's like a gate almost, right? So as the gate is open a little bit, only a little bit of that signal gets fed through, right? So if you have your repeats low, you get a little bit of that signal fed through. The more you open that gate, the more that signal is fed through. But if there's enough gain in that circuit, then you will get, it just basically runs away with itself. Yeah.
So is it just in the pedals where it doesn't happen, it's just not giving enough gain to come back in again?
Yeah.
Or it
So, and it'll
stops?
be like...
I was giving some mood music there on Carl Longbottom's guitar. Carl Longbottom.
yeah. So, and there's a number of things that will do it. Like, for example, you will have heard when we were starting messing around with the... Yes, it was the carbon copy. We had the repeats up all the way, and it was like, it wasn't really happening. It wasn't until we turned down, or we turned down the speed,
Yep.
and then those delays started going through much faster, and that's when the oscillation happens. So a lot of that stuff, you can get it oscillating, and when you lengthen that speed, that it stops oscillating in the same
Yes.
way. So yeah, it's a all of those things. It's like having an EQ that is all everything affects everything else. When
Yeah.
in the delay pedal, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's its own ecosystem.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are right, Sanford. Not all analog delay pedals do it.
Yeah. Try it with your analog delay. Try it with a faster delay time.
Yeah.
Repeats need to be all the way up, so that pot's got to be like opened completely, and then you don't need to create a note. Just hit it really hard and give it a lot of signal in the input. And then if it is going to oscillate, that will be when it oscillates. And when you turn the time down, you hear it go and do that crazy stuff. There we go.
Andy Rhodes, great episode. Is there an analog style delay that has a ducking feature?
Oh boy,
We just
I
played the
don't-
new Walrus D1,
that has it.
and that has an attack feature, so it's kind of a duck on any setting you want. It's really, really great feature. I can't remember seeing that on another pedal of that type.
Now, I'm wondering if you can if you can do it with like a side chain compressor with a delay
Okay.
in the loop. That'd be one, but I can't think of one that has got that in there.
No.
Because naturally, an analog delay, well, lots of them
Yeah, it's going to
have that.
It's going to
It
have to
was
be
built in.
It's probably going to have to be, in order to vary it, it's probably going to have to be a digital simulation of an analog delay. Isn't
Yeah.
it? So I don't know whether the
Or get it in
DD20 can
Yeah.
do it, but the new Walrus D1 definitely can.
Yes, it's very, very clever.
It's not analog, it is digital, but it has analog simulation. Right, galloping to the end of this. If you've just joined us, we're not answering anything on there yet. We're just going through the questions that came in on YouTube from Friday's video. Burger Berger Andresen. Awesome show, guys. One thing you forgot to mention, where to put your delay. Like she said, he says. Boo. We should have one of those whistles, shouldn't we? Yeah. Boo, like you used to have in Carry On films. Where can you get one of those from?
I don't know, but there's got to be a
Like when
a
the
way
guys-
to plug it into the board.
When the guy's trousers fall down.
Phew. Put flange trails on the end of that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe that was just
Everyone's
a
having
dream
fun.
I had. Because I use the effects loop of my amp, which causes other issues, as you know, like line level signals, instrument level signals, passive effects loops, and all that. So how do the pedals in front of the delay affect the delay compared with how they are in your effects loop?
So just think of the effects loop as a gain stage, and the pedals that are in front of the delay are another gain stage. And then you can go back and look on our many pedals we've done on gain staging. If you hit the delay pedal with more input signal, then you're driving that delay circuit harder, and so the delay circuit's going to have a certain amount of headroom. The one thing about having pedals in the loop of the amplifier, you need to make sure they can accept the line level.
Depending on the loop.
Depending on the loop, depending on the pedal. Like you put the
A lot of
MXR
lot of
carbon
loops
copy.
are instrument level these days.
So they bring down the level and then they bring it back up after the return.
And that's one of the reasons why Dan and I are not big fans of loops, because the way it's recovered or driven can involve buffers, can involve all kinds of things, which makes it sound not the same. I was about to say worse, not the same. And then you're dealing with all other stuff. However, Michael Force says, I'm a big fan of using the crunch to distortion in my amp, using the Orange TH30 without any dirt pedals. How about a show using pedals with dirt in the amp, please? And say wants this too.
Okay.
And I think everything we just discussed kind of feeds into that. So
Okay.
delay in the loop or in the front of the amp, and then what if you use a 2-channel amp?
Sure.
That's the question, essentially, off the back of this. I think there's a show there that says I've got a 2-channel amp, I use a clean channel and a dirty channel. How on earth do I get that ecosystem all happening? I think that'd be quite interesting.
Okay. No worries.
Because that's weird
we
ground
can
for
do
us.
that.
Dan and I never use effects loops, but we are aware that most of the rest of the world does. So,
Okay.
yes.
So that was the delay show. Lots of people have said they want the same show but for reverbs.
Yeah, well, that's easy, isn't it?
That's easy.
Let's cookie cut that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ka-chung.
thank you very much for your comments on, we had like 1,000 comments or 800 comments or something
Yeah, it's
on
amazing.
that show over the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked taking it back to those fundamental questions about, what do you want to use the delay for?
Like, why are we all here?
Yeah, it's great. So anyway, guys, we're now going to look at the comments. Super chat is now turned on.
Is it?
Yeah,
How do you know that?
because to see that dollar sign down the bottom,
Yeah.
if you press that, you'll be able to go, hey!
No, that doesn't work.
Well, because I don't think you can super chat yourself.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
I don't think, yeah. Did you definitely turn it on?
I definitely turned it on.
Okay, right. Fishy Paw. Hello, Fishy. No ocelots were harmed during the making of this episode.
No.
For anyone who doesn't get that, we did a show on synths where we kept calling oscillators ocelots and LFOs elephants, which was so hilarious. I mean, you just had to be there, etc. Stefan Seidler, I'd love to know how Dan's EP is coming together.
Oh, it's going really well. So we're recording drums here on the 20th of Feb, but all the songs are done and pre-production is almost completely finished. By pre-production, I just mean getting everything arranged and making sure that we're happy with all the parts. Because when we come to record the drums, we have to do those 4 songs. Got to get it all done in one day. So there can't be any questions about, I don't know about this bit anymore. We got to come in here. We got to hammer it. So it's going really well. I played you a bit when I crashed at your place.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to hearing it. Derek Clay, thoughts on the new Walrus Mako D1 delay? We did a pedal jams on it today.
Mega.
Recorded it today, which will be a week tomorrow.
Yep.
So tomorrow's Pedal Jams is a different bunch of pedals, and next week's will be. So what's it tomorrow? The 28th tomorrow. So it will be like the 5th of February or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
It's
really, really, really
very
cool.
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 Sorry, I'm just seeing if I can get the. I wanted to make sure that the super chat thing was turned on.
Alexander, what do we think about stainless steel frets?
I haven't had good results with them personally, but I know lots of people who have. So don't.
Yeah. For me, guitars stop at about 1965, so they didn't have stainless steel fret wire there. But lots of people really like stainless steel frets. One thing we noticed about Dan's telly when it was refretted, he had 6100s put in it, and it sounded fundamentally different when it came
was
back.
Crazy.
So there's a question about whether they affect the guitar tonally in a positive or a negative way, depending on your view of that, which is all about personal preference. So I don't wear my frets through fast enough to need stainless steel frets. So Johnny, who does our refrets, really likes old frets because they're easy to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it is turned on. Look, people are going.
Brilliant. Dave, is this thing on? Have a round on me, Dave. You're a very generous human
cheers,
being.
Dave.
Thank you. Cheddar Kung Pao, that is. And Ty Roberts, just saying hi. Been using delay since the late 70s. Brian May was the first guy I heard with his tape echo live. I had to replicate it. Oh, yeah, all that Brighton rock stuff.
Unreal.
With the, where he then plays in harmony with the delays.
So, and that's the reason he started using delays, because he was trying to get some elements of the harmonies that he was using on the records.
How do we do this?
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so clever.
Braxel says, Mick, what are the best settings on the V40 for the clean pedal platform amp? So Braxel is talking about the Victory V40. I try to have the master as high as I can get it, usually like 10 or at least a little bit back from there. Preamp as low as it will go to make the amp loud enough. Turn the bass down because it'll just start overdriving too much. Yeah, I actually think there's more headroom in the regular lunchbox one than there is in the V40 Deluxe because of the extra tube for the reverb and the tremolo.
Oh, wow.
And I think it overdrives more. It's got a different sort of sag.
Yeah, it makes a big
And
makes
it
a
is
difference, that
so
stuff.
different from the 140. The 140 we've used on the last couple pedal jams.
Beast.
It's a
Absolute
great amp.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's my favourite. There's that and the C35
Yeah.
are my two real standout
Yeah.
Victory amplifiers. They're wonderful.
Carter Wilkinson, clon question. Where should the clon go in the signal chain? Will the buffer affect my other drive pedals? Yes, it will, but not necessarily in a bad way. The clon's buffer is a thing of awesomeness.
All buffers are not created equal.
No.
That's a really important thing. And, the clon buffer is very special.
I have mine at the end anyway, so it doesn't matter because I always use it as a boost. I like the way it shapes, rolls off a bit at bottom end, gives you that kind of 3.5K-ish bite. It works, especially after a fuzz. Really like it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Danny.
Bacelia06 said, just had to support you guys. I've been watching for years, and it would make my day if you said hello. Thanks for all you do, Brian. Hello, Brian. Thank you so much, mate. That's very, very generous of you.
Anything other than Brian?
Brian. Bacelia06. Brian.
Bacelia06. Nice.
Yeah, cheers, mate. That's very kind.
Josh Crothers. Hello, Josh. What if you tried pairing your typical okay-ish delay pedal with an EP boost pedal? Do you guys think it would improve the sound or make it more tape-like?
So we're going to do a show because lots of people have asked about the elements. Like whenever we do a show that uses real tape delay, people are going, "Oh my word, it just sounds mega!" And what are the elements of that? And there's a number of things, including preamps, including companders in the circuit. For example, like the DD2 and the DD3 both had a compander still in the circuit, and they took it out after that and fundamentally changed the sound of the delay. So, things like that are really important.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a look at that in detail and then see how, we'll take some modern digital delays and add things like preamps and that sort of stuff in the circuit and just see if we can get that going. But it's a really important question, I think.
Yes, there were quite a few comments actually in the video, people saying they would use something like an EP booster in front of an Empress
Yeah.
ecosystem or something like that. J Rocket has just come out with a really great thing called the Ape,
Yes.
which enables you to put a delay in its loop. So it gives you an Echoplex preamp, but then it affects the delay pedal in a different way than just putting an EP preamp on the front of the delay. We're going to have that soon.
It's really, really clever.
But yes, is the answer. Yes, it is a good thing to try.
Definitely.
Joe Brennan. Hi, Joe. I've lost you. You were there, Joe. You said you were struggling with your DD7 because it's either imperceptible or washing everything out.
Right.
I would say watch the show on delays because we answer that question.
Yeah.
You know, basically get an analog delay or put the DD7 in analog mode because I believe it has an analog mode, doesn't it? Maybe.
Well, I have to have a look at the new one.
DD8 now, isn't it?
DD8. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Pat Flanagan. Dan, I want to start jiu-jitsu, but one of my fears is getting cauliflower ear. Wondering if you've had the same concern and how if you protect your ears. Yes, Pat, so I don't know if you can get a close-up on...
That one's worse, isn't
That
it?
one's worse. So I've had my ears syringed, I think, 4 times on this side and 3 times on this side. It is an issue, but it's only an issue if you're an idiot. I'm an idiot. So if I get caught in a triangle or something, instead of tapping, I'll go mental and try and get my head out, and that's when the damage is caused. But there are things that you can. So there's a thing that wrestlers wear to protect their ears, and so you can wear one of those. It's a little bit.
And rugger players.
Rugby players. So one thing you can do is put a headband on and tape around that. There are different things that you can do. My best advice for you, if you're going to get into jiu-jitsu and that stuff, is just don't be an idiot. Tap early, tap often, you'll be fine. But yeah, good luck, mate. It's awesome.
Sounds like a road to losing competitions, Dan. I'd like to know the psychological effect of wearing a headband if you're in... Does it turn you into a proper heed the battle?
Put the headband on.
Yeah, because you're protected.
Yeah.
You know.
Put on some 80s hair metal.
You know
Put
that
montage on behind you just before you're going in.
you know they've banned heading the ball in kids' football practice under so many years in Scotland, I think.
I had stitches in my forehead when I was 5 years old, and my coach still made me head the ball.
Heed the ball! Tom Miley, hello Tom. I've been struggling to find a delay that allows me to still control the amp gain with the guitar but keeps the delay the same. Yeah, this is the problem we were talking about earlier. Are there any options for this or just something to deal with? The way I deal with it, Tom, is I have an expression pedal that I use to control the delay level. So you can just back it off and then that gets rid of that problem. It's a bit of a faff, but actually once you get used to it, it brings you a bunch of other stuff that you didn't have before.
It's very cool.
So,
John Bentley. Hi, John, and thanks for that. That's very kind. He says, I find my January works best when the amp is loud. Other drives seem more universal. You guys have me tempted by the ODS. Would it be similar? It all depends on the amp. Depends on how loud, have the gain settings on the pedal. It's a really tricky one. I do know that when I've heard the January being used with a loud amp, it is a thing of absolute beauty.
the differences are more perceptible when it's loud, right? Is that just the basic
I think so.
physical fact?
Yeah.
Everything's better when it's loud, unfortunately, in guitar. And I think that's where you really start to hear character.
I think
especially old guitars with weak pickups.
Yeah, right.
That's when you hear them, when they're loud, right?
And also, some, the gain structures of some pedals, the more clarity that you have in that signal path, the more that's going to be affected by the natural phenomenon that happens when you turn the amplifier up. The more that the work the pedal is doing, the less important, the character the amp is. But having a pedal that keeps all of the transient response and the attack of the guitar, the more important it is going to be the way that your amp's reacting. And I think that's one thing that all the myriad pedals that because we get to play loud in here. And so it's definitely a thing that we hear. you know, with certain manufacturers, it's like, okay, they're really aware of that first pick thing on the string. It's like, okay, they've worked really hard to keep that. You know?
Everything we talk about becomes more apparent at volume,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's quiet power or whatever.
I really want to do a show on that and the Strat.
Dan wants me to do a show on the Strat about how do you play a Strat loud and make it sound good, and I'm like, I don't want to do it.
It's okay. So anyone that wants Mick to do that show, please comment.
I don't want to do it because there's 2,000 people out there who do it better than me.
But
so
no, I'd see
everyone out there will be like, "Oh no, you're not doing it right at all. It's just completely wrong."
You get a sound in here with a Strat that bowls me over every time, and there are some fundamental questions that I would like to ask you about that. So I think it would be awesome. But you're being very modest and when it comes to
the
that.
answer is just play blooming loud and put a fuzz face in front of it and be totally fearless. And those three things are quite difficult for most people.
Right.
So I think...
Yeah, well, I'd love to explore it, though.
You know, I can imagine somebody sat in their bedroom can only play at 71 dB and I'm going, yeah, what you need is a 100 watt 2-watt and you need like a fuzz and it needs to be cranked and you need to kick it. And that's dispiriting information, I would say. Anyway, Bell Tunnel. Just stopping by to say hello and Happy New Year. Now back to work. Cheers, guys, from Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Kristen Cebol has given us $6.66. Greetings from the frozen tundra of Minnesota. We were there, weren't we?
We were.
When we went to see Rift City. Have you guys tried any of the small sound, big sound stuff? I haven't.
No.
Sounds like something worth looking into.
Yeah, we didn't go to NAMM this year, so there's lots of new pedal builders that we haven't seen yet. Yeah. But we're hoping to get to Summer NAMM in Nashville at some point.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah. Sub Rossa asks about lacquer finishes. You guys generally seem to favour guitars with lacquer finishes. Is this due to historical accuracy or more around general experience with nitro versus poly?
It's 90% aesthetic for me. Guitars with nitro that goes off and does that kind of old shiny thing. A lot of people think nitro's dull, a bit like the way they think tape repeats are dull.
Yeah,
they're not. They're bright. Nitro is shiny and it stays shiny.
Yep.
It's a predominantly aesthetic thing for me, but I also do think when the guitar gets older and most of the volatile compound in that nitro is gone, you're left with this layer of stuff that's basically bonded to the wood in a way that polyfinish never does.
Yeah.
So it just becomes the guitar rather than sitting on top of the guitar.
Yep. Definitely.
So yeah, I like nitro.
Torrin Carmichael says, "Hey Dan, is the black Echo Fix new, and does it have the real spring reverb? How is it compared to the DSP one?" So yes, that is the new version. So when I got sent the Echo Fix originally, because I love the RE201, but I've had some issues with it live, and I'm like, you know, anyway, that came out and I'm like, oh, I have to have one. Turned up and my feedback was, I love it. It's beautiful. I was disappointed that even though the DSP reverb sounds amazing in it, there's something that happens with, I love small tank reverbs. There's something about the sound of them that I've always loved. And anyway, I got an email from EchoFix saying we've just sent it back because we've just created a real spring reverb for it. And so that is the new one with the real spring reverb in it. For me, yes, I much prefer the real spring because there's something about that short tank, dang, dang, like those really quick
clattery. It's a different thing, isn't it?
Oh man, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
And the way it works with the matchless just blows my mind. So, and it's something that you wouldn't program into a DSP because it doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't. If you listen to that, you go, "It's weird."
Yeah, it's not all smooth and
no. It's really, it's really, it can be abrasive and, but it's glorious. So yes, That's what's going on there.
Ampol88, thank you. Hello from Michigan. My wife gave me some of your merch today for my birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
And it even included a note from you guys. Don't tell everyone. Everyone will want one. Made my day. You're a big reason I started playing guitar again. That's the best thing you could ever say to us.
I think your wife sent us a message, and which was, and shared with us a little bit of your story. So great to hear from you, and great to hear you that playing guitar, mate. That's really great.
Yeah. Patrick Dalsin, or Kin, but Dalsin maybe. Patrick. Hello, Patrick. Hey guys, love the show. Ed O'Brien episode had him using DL4 in sample mode with an always-on overdub loop decaying over time for delay. Do any pedals exist with a variable decay doing this?
I don't know.
Do you not just set it to the point of almost oscillation, or is that not it? Or is it more a hold thing?
I don't know. I have to see the way that Ed's using it, because it's
sample mode with an always-on overdub loop. Is that not what things like the Mood do? Or is that too short?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know. I have to have a look.
Sorry, Patrick. We don't know is the answer to
I will
that
have
question.
a look, though, because Ed has released some solo tunes, which are awesome, and I'm hopefully going to go and see him playing those this year. But that stuff that he does with delay, it really affected us both actually when he came in here. Just the pure artistry of it.
Existential crisis for me, it caused.
Yeah, it actually did. So I'm really keen to see how he's doing that, because it's really wonderful. So yes, I'm going to dig into that. Gibbs Sunday Rock says, guys, no question. Here's $5 for your attention. I'm a huge fan and would love to find a way to work together. And Sweet SG Junior. Thank you, Gibbs Sunday Rock. Yes, this is my 1961 Junior. This is a guitar I used to play loads in Tin Spirits. It is a stunning guitar.
Crazy thing.
Yeah, but
when I finally decide that I can't make Blue sound like a vintage Strat, and nor do I have the money to buy a vintage Strat, I'm going to get an SG. How about that for weird logic? But that's what's going to happen. Thank you, Gerard, for your kindness. Andrew Morgan, you do a show on how to choose a delay. Why is it that I watch it twice? And the answer is still all of them. Now I have to order an Echo Fix.
That is the correct answer, to be fair. It's the reason I have 3 delays on my board, and one externally, because they all have a different thing.
Yeah. Marcus Jackson, this is a question for Fraser probably. Where do you set levels in your DAW to avoid YouTube compression while still being loud? Well, we set to -2, don't we? -3?
Yeah.
Something like that?
It's dependent on YouTube's loudness algorithm.
Yeah.
So they try and create an average loudness for every video. I don't know what it is. Google what their standard is.
Right.
And then adjust to that.
So if you didn't get that, Fraser's saying that Google have an algorithm that looks at the video and decides what the average loudness is. To be honest, you can't. It's the same with color correction. You just can't get around it. You're in the lap of the gods with it. But everyone moans about YouTube compression. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's really not. I mean, it used to be bad.
Yeah.
But the audio in YouTube is.
They have an army of people working on it day in, day out.
I mean, if you're used to listening to streamed music on Spotify, then you're already listening to awful audio. So you may as well carry on. Sorry.
Right, Crown Jewels Guitar says, have you guys tried the plumes? I'm obsessed. And thank you very much, Crown Jewels. That's very kind. The plumes, that is the Earthquaker Devices plumes, is that right?
It's an overdrive, is it the Tube Screamer one?
I think so.
Yeah.
We had the Earthquaker Devices multi-tube screamer one.
Which is called the Palisades.
Palisade, yeah. So the plumes from the Palisades are caught fire. It's the plumes of smoke coming from the Palisades that is now...
Oh, I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's a little insight into the way my brain works.
That's vision, that was. Yes, all Earthquaker stuff is awesome, and I don't know why we haven't got more of it.
Yeah. Anyone from Earthquaker? Hi.
No, we are in touch. And they've said if there's anything we need, we should just get in touch, which
awesome.
We should get in touch. Rufus1884, thank you, Rufus. Are you aware of any combined delay and reverb pedals that do both really well? I'm sure there are, but it's a minefield. Keeley do one, don't they, Caverns?
The Caverns is great. The Collider from Source Audio, delay and reverb.
Oh yes,
And we've got one. We have to give that some schwang.
all Source
But
Audio
that
stuff is good.
Oh man.
What did I mention first there? I mentioned the Caverns. I think the Caverns is relatively limited on the delay side, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Check out Pedal Jams tomorrow for the Neon Egg Planetarium. This thing is off the scale.
Unreal.
It's a very stylized delay and reverb, but by golly, and you wouldn't necessarily want to put it on your pedal board, but
Well, I would.
what a fantastic thing. Watch Pedal
Pedal
Jams tomorrow.
it's amazing.
We had a lot of fun with that. There are quite a lot of delay and reverbs, aren't there? Just having a look around.
Yeah. So it was the Keeley one. The what did you call it?
Caverns.
The Caverns. That's really good.
Keeley does a few things, like there's
They
the
do.
workstations which do
Yes.
have a selection of delay and
The
reverb.
Wampler delay reverb is
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
What else is there?
You're sort of, once you get into that world, you're almost into the price point of like the beginnings of decent multi effects. So I don't know what Helix HX Stomp is these days, but that would do it really well.
Yeah, H9.
Yeah.
And H9 now has an algorithm that has a delay and reverb together. So normally you wouldn't be able to combine two effects, but H9 now has that algorithm going.
Yeah. Do any of the Empress do it? Is there delay?
Well, there is something on the delay. I think, or the reverb one that gives you a delay on there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, any of the like Walrus probably do something. But
Fender have one.
Honestly, in our opinion, how do I say this? You can get all in one box, but it's so much more fun to get specific things, and then when you get bored with that, you can swap it out for something else.
Yeah.
You decided you don't like that reverb anymore, so you get a different reverb, and you don't like that delay anymore, so you get a different delay. You can, if you trade pedals second hand, or you swap them with your mates, or you lend stuff to your mates or whatever, it doesn't have to be cripplingly expensive, as long as you're not buying like 5 a week or something. But gulp.
Michael Koning says, what's a good use for drive pedals that allow you to blend in the dry signal like the T-Rex Moller 2 and the Jam Lucy Dreamer? Bass.
Yeah, also if you step on the drive and you lose a lot of definition and you want a little bit more pluck in your note, it can sound weird.
It can sound weird. I've got a little something I want to do on that, because there is a way to make it not sound weird. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, because I've never, when I hear the Tube Screamer, and I hear some Tube Screamer clones have a lot more of that direct signal in,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, because you get these two parallel signals. One's got this massive attack, it dies off instantly. Then one's got this much smaller attack, and then it's compressed. And they're like, I don't like that. However, bass players really like that, because they don't get that crazy attack, and it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And they like hearing the original tone, but being able to layer fuzz and distortion on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it would be more use if it were parallel, so that you could then affect the other one. Like, for example, the Empress multi-drive. Is it Empress?
Yes.
Where you can have two parallel lines, so you can have a fuzzy one and a overdrive one.
Is it Empress, or is it?
I think it is Empress, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is Empress. Sorry.
multi-drive.
Yes, it is. Yep.
So your clean signal could be fuzzed, and your overdrive signal could just stay.
Or the brothers from Chase Plus Audio.
Yes.
Same thing. Yeah.
David Lee, hello David. What do you think of Fender's combo delay reverb pedal? All the Fender pedals are good.
Really good.
Yeah,
Really good.
really, really good. And the overall quality of JHS pedals. Yes, JHS are up there with Wampler, Keeley, all the sort of guys that we used to call boutique, but are now just modern, high quality production.
Yeah. Fantastic. Josh is as is Keeley and Brian. Josh is a good mate of ours. Hopefully we'll be filming with him in February when he's coming out.
Yeah.
But you won't meet anyone more passionate about pedals
Yeah.
than Josh. He knows his stuff. So we actually did a show that's still really one of our most viewed shows when Josh takes us through the history of gain pedals, and it's fascinating. So yeah, they're great. Now, funnily enough, I've got Josh's compressor, the orange squeezer type compressor on the board, and I've had a number of his pedals on my board from time to time, and I've definitely got my favourites. But there's things like the Morning Glory. That's an absolute classic. Amongst their sort of low gain, medium gain.
Bluesbreaker type one, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's really well done. Yeah, he's really, really great.
Wesley DeWitt, hey guys, thanks for
Woo.
the killer show. It definitely brought back my restless desire for a tape echo. Problem is, I still have yet to be impressed by anything modern or accessible. Any suggestions? Yeah, you feel our pain, Wesley. We think they all sound good, and then you stick the tape echo on. Keeley Echoes is looking really promising.
Man, yeah.
Really, really promising. So, Dan Fisher, Dan. Next chord vlog.
Oh, okay. Yes. So we've got coming up. It's imminent. We've got recorded a show with
Adam Neely.
Adam Neely. So that's coming up really soon. And then I've got some more ones that I've done on my own. Sad and lonely, sat there.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
We're getting back to the vlogs actually. People may have seen. Somebody said here, Tyler W. Mick, so excited for your new Strat video. Yes, I've got back into the vlogging spirit myself.
You were here yesterday recording that.
I was part of it, the first bit. It's going to take weeks, months probably, but we'll get started. I already know the conclusion, which is really boring. that blue won't sound anything like the vintage guitar, but the question is how close
Yeah.
is the question. So currently it's about halfway,
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
0 is a steamy dog poo on the sidewalk, and
That the owners should have picked it up days ago.
Yeah.
And it's just left there.
And
It's rained once.
100 is the vintage Strat.
Right. Okay.
Blue is currently about 55, maybe. So I'm hoping to get to like 80, 85.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Matt Miller, what do you think of American basketball? We're very sorry to hear of the death of Cody Bryant, is what we think of American basketball today. That's a tragedy, very sad. Not much more to say on that. Apart from that, touchdown. We don't do basketball here in this country. If we do, it's almost certainly risibly bad, along with other ball sports that aren't soccer.
Or cricket.
It's pretty bad at that as well, aren't
Oh
we?
yeah. Great at cricket.
Yeah.
Great,
Sorry,
great
you may have guessed that I'm not really a sports person. You like sport, don't you?
What do I like? Well, I like certain things. I really like cricket. I'd always watch the Ashes. If I can, I'll watch every ball of the Ashes. But I don't. Apart from that, I don't watch it religiously. I love my jiu-jitsu and MMA. But I personally couldn't sit there and watch a football game. I went to a football match when I first got here, right? So in Australia, when you go to a sports thing, there's an entry and you go in there and you sit down. And when I got here, it was like a visitor's entry and like or whatever it was, and home thing. I'm like, what's that all about? It's like you couldn't sit together. They'd tear each other apart. I'm like, no way. So that, I find that fascinating. But yeah, I like that football, round ball, kick it with your foot. Never.
You got any
connected
friends who are
with me.
really into it?
No. Yeah, not really.
The only way I can understand how people like it is if someone said to you, "Can you imagine what life would be like if music wasn't in it?"
Yes, okay. Right.
And then that's the only way I can understand how people like football, because they
Yeah.
they like it to that level, don't
Sure.
they? I'm just not into stuff that pits people against one another on grounds of ideology.
Yeah, I think if you do it on a pure achievement level, it's great. But then when it becomes a sense of identity, like someone else's achievement,
Yeah.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And not only that, they don't represent anything about you or your town or wherever you come from or whatever. And yet you attach yourself to this thing. If I was a football fan, I'd support like Newcastle Rovers this year, Manchester Athletic
What,
next
whoever's
year.
won.
Whoever's won.
Yeah, yeah. And not, you know, and when
Sorry, it's,
and football's great. There's nothing, you know, it's awesome, but
it
this
is,
is just
it
the way
is
that,
awesome. My best mate at uni was a massive soccer fan, and we used to have lots of endless debates about it. And I got him so angry one night he actually punched me.
No. Boy, oh boy.
Right, Joe Brennan. I managed to get my hands on an Ernie Ball VP Junior tuner, and I absolutely love it. Interested to know if you guys have checked it out and what do you think? Do Ernie Ball do that, or is that the thing that Schnobeltone does?
I don't know. I think it's starting to catch on.
Yeah, so where they put a tuner in the volume control.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing with that is you have to have it. You'd have to turn it off, take your foot off to see what's going on, then put your foot back on, and then it needs to be buffered the whole time. So I don't know. I have to check it out.
Yeah, let's get one.
But
let's
it's a good
get one.
idea.
Jay Yelton, thank you, Jay. Just come some appreciation for the show, for Mixed Vlog and Dan's instructional videos.
Oh, thank you, Jay.
Jay, very
Legend.
much.
Legend.
Jeremy Colassa, from one non-sports guy to another, stay strong. Axes forever. I like this. Chris Turner. Hello, Chris. I watched a recent John McLaughlin gig where it appeared that he had all of his pedals always on and gets variation from his playing dynamic. What are your thoughts on doing that?
So I remember going to see John Schofield. And it was a very similar
Actually,
thing.
John McLaughlin and John Schofield.
You know John McLaughlin?
I don't know him, but I've met him.
Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
I saw him. I was, man alive. I saw him, let me get this right, 25 years ago. When I was a young whippersnapper, well, you know, whippersnappish.
Easy,
At
guys.
the-
Easy, guys. I'm not a sports fan either, but you're about to break the internet. It's funny, isn't it, when you just, you know.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I do like motorcycle racing.
Right. See, I don't, it's like, you want to put a bigger engine in it. All right, you win. Yay.
No. That is Formula One.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Guy in the fastest
I
car
have my
wins.
motorsport mixed up.
Guy in the fastest car wins. Bike racing is unhinged. Absolutely unhinged. Sorry, I totally interrupted you.
It's okay. I obviously wasn't saying anything important because of. Oh no, hang on. So John McLaughlin, I saw him when I was young, and he was playing just a nylon string with a 3-piece, and then the bass player played this classical piece on the bass, and it blew my mind. I never forget it. But then I went and saw John Schofield, and he played at the Harbourside Brasserie in Sydney. I've played that venue. It's awesome.
Nice.
And just to get that in there, and he had a similar thing. Now, up to that point, I never really connected with John Schofield's recorded music because there's a sound about his guitar that I just didn't cross. When I went and saw him live, it all made sense. It's, you know, it's like Bruce Springsteen. I didn't like his music, and then I saw him live because there was a mate stag do, right?
We've angered all sports fans, and now we're about to take on the boss.
No, hang on. I just listened to him like, he's out of tune. I don't understand. Then I went and saw him live, and he absolutely blew my mind. He played for over 3 hours, and I was stood up watching for 3 hours, and it felt like 20 minutes. And he played all of Darkness at the Edge of Town, which is the only Springsteen album I really connected with. I mean, I thought, but you know, not in a major way. I probably listened to it once a year, but I thought it was a really good album. But he was unbelievable, right? It was Wembley, and for the whole gig, he, like the end, he played Thunder Road, just him on an acoustic guitar. You could have heard a pin drop. He just had every one in the palm of his hand. And now when I go back and listen to those albums, I'm like, oh my word, it makes complete sense. So John Schofield, same thing. He had this modulation on his guitar that reacted to his dynamics, and it made it sound almost more like a sax or like a, you know, something you blow into. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I get it. Now I want to go back and listen to those albums again. It totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the eventual answer was yes. It's a really great way to do it.
Yeah,
And certainly, if you've got a guitar that's sensitive enough to do it, and the volume control and the tone controls,
all that stuff.
and enable you to really engage, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
I like doing it with a fuzz face actually.
yeah, definitely.
Just screaming crazy Valhalla to lovely plinky plonky clean.
So I have and all the solos that I play, I have the Analog Man Sun Faces on, fuzz dialed back a bit, and then it's just going between, between 8.5 to 10, and that's everything.
Yeah.
Just magic.
Soul's the goal. Gents, I asked very politely for an episode on the Fox Tone Machine at a gig of yours in Swindon. I'd politely request it again, as I love your perspective and mixed hair. Oh, thank you.
Oh, Graham Coxon just responded to me on Twitter.
Did he?
Yes,
Nice.
he did. I said
Fox Tone Machine. Do we have one?
we don't. But
What is it?
It's a super fuzz. It's
Right.
a duo fuzz.
Yeah.
Same thing. But funnily enough, it's the same circuit. But anyway. We'll get one. It's the one of the fuzzy case.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very cool. No, that's just
Sessman 75. Do you guys still have plans for a John Smith Part 2? He blew me away the last time you guys had him on. Yes. John lives just up the road, actually. He's become a good friend of ours. And I'd love to get him on to talk about some more stuff. He's mesmerising. I went to see him in Bristol just before Christmas, and it was...
Last time I saw him, I had tears streaming down my face as I hugged him and said goodbye. I'm not sure I'm ready for a reunion just yet. But man alive, what an amazing artist. So unassuming and but proper. It just has that artist soul,
Yeah,
you know. It's so beautiful.
For anyone who didn't get that, is John Smith. John Smith. Check him out. Joe Brennan, again, hi Joe. How do you deal with the drastic level change when you're using a fuzz face and the volume control to go from clean to dirty? All depends on the amp, Joe. If the amp's just on the edge of breakup, what will happen is it'll sound lovely and clean and sparkly, and then when you hit the fuzz, it'll just compress, and it won't actually be that much louder. It'll sound louder because it's thicker and fatter, but once it's in a mix, actually, it's not. It's the kind of... It's one of those sounds when you're at sound check and you play it and everyone else in the band goes, "Get out." And you say,
"Oi, you,
look,
out!"
Honestly, when he's banging the snare drum and you're playing the bass, it will be entirely appropriate. And they go, "Nah, forget it, mate." And then it's that sound. So I like it.
Yep. Okay. Brian Reed says, I typically use the EF86 channel of a DC30. I'm exactly the same. I hardly ever use the 12x7 channel. But I often play in newer AC15s or various Fender backline amps. Is there a pedal that can recreate the beautiful EF86 breakup when using those other amps? Ta-da! So this is the Squire tube preamp from Kingsley that is an EF86 preamp.
The downside is there's probably a bit of a waiting list.
Yeah. I'd like to say it's not anything to do with us, but,
Yeah.
his stuff is just so good.
James Moverly or Moverly, who are your favourite modern artists?
Oh, boy. Billie Eilish.
Who watched the Grammys last night?
Yep. She is amazing. Who else do I like that's modern? Is it Casey Chambers?
Casey Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves. Boy, oh boy, she's unreal.
I'll go with Leanne LaHavas.
Nice.
Insanely good.
Okay.
You might be surprised to know that me and Dan don't listen to a lot of like overtly guitar music.
Well, I listen to a lot of jazz guitar at the moment.
And of course, a lot of our mates.
Yeah.
So Andy Timmons
Yeah.
and Josh Smith and Kurt Fletcher
I
and Matt
love Andy's
Schofield.
last album. And we might. I mentioned it in the video today, but I've been talking to Andy and hopefully get him over in April. And
Oh,
we'll do a
that'd
little
be
TPS live thing, us and
amazing.
Andy, at the going.
Yeah, modern artists. It's quite difficult because there's so much awesome music out there. And the people that I'm discovering, I'm like, wow, look at that new artist. And they've been around for 15 years. Like Aoife O'Donovan. If you don't know who Aoife O'Donovan is, check her out. An awesome guitar player who plays with her called, and he is from Austin, Texas, I think, or maybe he's not from Austin, Texas, but he plays a Collings, and he is called Somebody Help Me Out, Somebody Help Me Out. Amazing textural guitar player. Would be cool to have him on the show. Yes. Somebody said, have we any plans to have the Wampler Terraform on the show? Says Ryan Chambly.
Yes, absolutely. We've got one. We've played with it. It's amazing. We're going to do a show on it.
Yep.
Zephyrin Zidal says, hi, Dan. On the subject of Tin Spirits, who played that tasteful solo in the song Garden State? Cheers, guys. Love the show. It keeps the guitar in my hands. That's awesome. There's two solos. The one in the middle is Dave, and the one on the outro is me. So the tasteful one is Dave.
Edwin says, where's Joey Landreth? You know what? Good point. Joey's so close to us these days. We're both privileged to say that Joey's become a close friend. Sometimes I don't even think about him as an artist anymore because he's such a mate.
Yeah,
but
he's our guitar teacher.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, he's there
for me.
Yeah. Of all the new artists in like the past however many years,
yeah.
I'll probably listen to him more than
how
anyone.
he's not on like repeat play on Radio 2. I have no idea. I mean, he has got he could just sell millions and millions of records, and I can't quite get it into my head why. I guess that's the industry. That's the way the industry works. We were talking about that earlier, but anyway. Yes. Gary Clark Jr. says Chris Klein. Yeah. That great track. I Don't Owe You a Thing off the Bright Lights EP. I think it was.
Right.
I don't owe you a thing. 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 We ain't getting married. I ain't buying you no diamond ring. That's all you get, baby. That's all you get. That's all you get, baby. That's all you get. That's all you get. That's all you get. Just me and this guitar. That's all you get. It's just awesome.
And do you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband? Snaus. Half the time I can't even remember my own name, honestly, but I do love it when you call me Big Popper.
Is that Josh?
Love
on there?
you. It's from Snaus Electronics.
Is it? Hi, Josh.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Great pedals, great boots.
Yes. Lots of great things about Josh from Snaus. Guitar for Life. Love the show. Any chance of getting Philip Sace on? I know Mick mentioned him a few times and he's coming out with a new album soon. If Philip comes to the UK, we will definitely reach out to him.
I mean, reach out to him anyway. Because I just would... He uses quite light strings, doesn't he?
Nines.
I would... And the sound that he gets, I would love to just sit with him and just go... Just throw a barrage of questions at him. Because he's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
No one's asked about Rick Beato's video this week, sort of debunking the heavy strings myth.
I don't know if it debunked it. Well, no, because they'd have a sound. Like the thinner strings have a sound and stuff. They're great. Oh, look, when we had Josh Smith on, who uses like 13, something crazy.
I couldn't get any tone out of his guitar.
And yet when he plays, it was awesome. Absolutely
That's
magical.
Isn't it?
It comes down to the artist.
Yeah,
if you're used to playing eights and you can do, and it's just awesome. Hendrix played eights.
Yeah.
You know, hurrah. I love the tension of the 11s.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an effort to play them, but there's a tension in them that feels amazing. When we did the show, we went up to Sheffield and we filmed with Lee Malia from Bring Me the Horizon, and his E string is an 80.
And he goes...
Listen to the sound of that thing. Now, you can't do that on a 52 gauge. It doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fascinating video though, and he is someone that I would love to get on the show because he's the most amazing. The history of what he's done and his understanding of Rick Beato.
Genius. He is
so yeah, sending out some love to Rick Beato.
Yes.
You're amazing. We'd love to have you on the show.
Let's reenact the Chet Atkins in the studio scene, shall we, Dan?
Okay, all right, awesome.
So suspend your disbelief. I am Chet Atkins. I finished my take.
Yo, Chet, that guitar sounds amazing.
How good does it sound now?
Nailed it. And the Oscar goes to...
Thanks. Mick Taylor for playing Chet Atkins.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
7 out of 10 for accent, 1 out of 10 for guitar playing. Yeah, the point is, isn't it? I think one of the first things you ever said to me that totally blew my mind, Dan, was pedals have no sound.
Yeah,
It's the same with guitars.
absolutely.
So,
It's just reactionary.
If I get like my mum in here to play that guitar, with no disrespect to my mum, it's going to sound like
Your mum.
bad. It's going to sound really bad because she can't play the guitar, right? If I play it, it's going to sound okay. If I get Michael Landau to play it, it's going to sound unbelievable. So what strings sound best is...
Yeah.
Even when we did the video was called The Dubious Legend of String Gauge or something, wasn't it? It's all down to the player. It's all down to the player.
G.E. Justin says, what's the best way to integrate a Giggle virtual battery into a pedal enclosure? I can't close the bottom of my sun face. And thank you, Justin. G.E. Justin, that's very kind. There's a couple of ways to do it. Mick has actually taken a little bit out of the bottom of his sun face. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that.
Using a drill, wearing no gloves or eye protection.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you want to do that, you can do that. But you can actually get
Don't do that at
a
home,
pedaling, like a project box that has the same size base for like a $5. To take that off, drill a hole in that, put the actual pedal base away, and just use that.
Yeah.
Or put some washers on the back edge
Oh, nice.
and
So it just raises it off.
Yeah, just raise it off, and so it won't crimp on the lead, and that works really well.
Yeah. Chad Dant. Chad, I'd love to see you guys explore tone using an in-ear setup. Playing your amp near what does amp on VS offstage? VS? Virtual
Sanity.
sadism. Anyway, yeah, having the amp off stage, in ears, and sounds very I've got some gigs coming up in July which might require
In ears.
in ears.
No
might
way.
require in ears. Yeah, I don't know yet. But we'll see.
Okay, because that will be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean it's almost nah.
I have been talking
I
to.
can't do it. I'm not experienced enough to do it.
I'm doing a board for someone at the moment. And I won't say who, but I'm recording a show on it. But this guy has been playing. It's one of the biggest shows in the world, and up to this stage, it's all been analog. Even the PA has been analog. Crazy, 100,000 people shows. Now everything's going digital. All the amps are now off stage, and he has to go to in-ear monitors. And so we're exploring this at the moment, and it's causing no end of consternation, shall we say.
Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it? It's
It really is a
reality
challenge.
for a lot of people. Nerd G4M3R, N3RD G4M3R, Nerd Gamer is what that says. Sorry, it took me a minute. That pedal show, pronounced Nerd Gamer, it says it there in the next line. Will a DD200 handle an MD500 with chorus on left output and flanger on the right output? Do I need
Yes.
to use something?
No, that'll be awesome.
I don't understand the question.
Well, it's basically a stereo setup, and it's putting different modulations on the left and right hand side.
Oh, cool. Will a DD200 handle an MD500 on the left and a flanger on the right? Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely do that.
Yeah, killer.
Yeah.
Mother something nature bear says, howdy chaps, what's your favourite single use pedal? Interesting.
So what does that mean?
Well, to be fair, most of our pedals that we like are single use.
Yeah.
They have one use.
Yeah. Varies, doesn't it?
Yeah. Gain stages, with modulation, delays, and verbs, they all have important roles to play. Yours has got it. Yeah, there you go.
I got two at the moment, and they are these. That just never gets any worse,
No, it's just magic.
does it? Never
It's
gets
crazy.
any worse. That. There's a show coming up on Friday.
Big show this Friday.
10 ways to make Fuzz work for you, for anyone who doesn't use Fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
I got this out again for ages. It's a Jimi Hendrix 108 silicon Fuzz. Just blooming brilliant.
BD4165 says, single-use pedal, use once, throw away.
Oh no, that's not very environmentally friendly.
Lisu Tiramisu says, do you like ACDC? ADDC?
Anything ADDC is good. Come on, Mac, it's not that hard.
Just Google man tries to spell ACDC on the radio. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, I love ADDC. Greg Grayson, Dan, Austin Pride or Silicon Fuzz Face? Depends.
Yeah,
You know, that's like
they're both awesome.
gin and tonic or martini.
Right.
Just depends. Depends how fancy you're feeling.
Galston Guitar says, John Frusciante is back. You fans? You're a big fan of John, aren't you?
Early days, I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he kind of, all his teeth fell out and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Is that what happened?
Something like that.
Yeah, and he went really mad and those... Well, sorry, that's a really bad thing to say. John had some drug issues, didn't he? And made a couple of really wacky solo albums, which are awesome. But, you know... And then it's just... Something like that. It's all Hendrix.
It's all
anyway,
Hendrix,
isn't it?
yeah, right.
I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played it. So much Hendrixy stuff on Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Awesome. Be interesting to see what they come up with. Because, you know, it's like, do you want to hear the Rolling Stones' new record?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because I mean, they're amazing, and I think they created a lot of really good material for a lot longer than people thought they would.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what are they going to sing about now? They can't sing about the blues because they got no money, or times have been hard.
Well,
I'm my seventh wife.
oh, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've moved on from the Chili Peppers, yeah. Yeah. Got my Zimmer! Yeah, I hope the Chili's... Actually, it would be interesting to see if the Chili's came back with a new vigour and a new creative... yeah. We've said enough.
Yeah. Gary Turner says, I'm looking at an EHEC, an Electro Harmonics Electric Mistress on eBay, and it's 24 volts. Can these take batteries stacked? Well, no, because if you stacked 3 9-volt batteries in series, you'd be getting 27 volts. It definitely needs a 24 volt. That's an Electric Mistress Deluxe you're talking about, not the 18 volt one. So no, it needs a 24 volt DC supply.
The proper supply.
Yeah.
John B, how are those Ron Ellis pickups, Mick? I don't know yet. I've wired them. As always, when you do stuff like this, what any normal human would do is wire the pickups, put them in the guitar and listen to them. But I've got to make videos and A/B comparisons about it, so it's taking all the love out of it at the moment. Took me all day to wire 2 pick guards yesterday, pretty much, because I'm so bad at wiring. But I'm getting there. I am getting there, and I'm actually giving some time to it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Richard McCutcheon says, any thoughts on the Rob Chapman Rift City thing? No. Robert Newby says, 40-year-old bedroom player here. Need an amp in that power range that's clear while clean but has a smooth breakup. Thinking Princeton circuit with a 12-inch a la Morgan PR12. Any recommendations? Oh boy.
The Morgan PR12 is an absolutely fan-blimmin-tastic amp, but boy is it too loud for a bedroom.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. If you live in Buckingham Palace and you've got no neighbours,
Awesome.
or the White House or somewhere like that, you know, some giant place where you've got no neighbours, it's a brilliant bedroom amp.
When I used to live in Mackay in North Queensland, which is where I studied at the Conservatorium, and where I lived, it was right on the river, this massive old warehouse, and I had a 100-watt Marshall at home, and I used to just take it downstairs in this empty warehouse, with the this longest guitar lead in the world and just crank it, sit for hours, you know. So if you're living there, man alive, go nuts. Yeah, but it's unfortunately it's not reality.
You would do well to get much love out of the PR12 at bedroom levels, Robert. It's a really loud amp. I mean, if we were in here, it would read 100 dB on our dB meter there, no problem. It would keep up with Dan's Matchless to a point. Super loud. It's really tough, that, actually. You know, what sounds good at low volume? Where do you get a bit of push? We've got a video coming up in a couple of weeks, which is about how to use boosts. And one of the things we do is we use a boost and a compressor together to get a bigger amp to feel a little bit more like a smaller amp.
That was fascinating.
Yeah,
that was so good.
There are things you can do, but it's really tough. You know, valve amps are loud, even 5-watt valve amps are loud, so it's a tough one. But if your heart's set on a PR12, it's a cracking amp. You might find a regular Princeton is less aggressive and easier to use with the 10-inch speaker, and might not be quite as visceral.
Chris Klein says from 1968 to 1980, the Stones were prolific. Absolutely, they were prolific. Exile on Main Street, amazing album. Yeah, so good.
Guitar for Life guitar. Have either of you checked out Benson amps? The Chimera 30-watt is pretty impressive. I haven't. I've never actually heard one in the flesh. I'm not sure what representation they have in the good old United Kingdom. But,
Matt Miller says, Dan, being someone who's toured, what would you suggest to someone who wants a job as a roadie? If you have zero experience with anything electrical, I don't know if there are courses and things that you do, and I certainly wouldn't be able to vouch for how good they are. I would contact roadies and just say, I want to learn. Can I come down and hang with you for a week or whatever?
Do it for mates.
And I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Just to learn. Those, you know, if you really want to do it, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there and
to find a local band or some mates and roadie for them, tech for them. Depends whether you mean roadie or tech. You know.
Yeah, I assume it would be tech because
roadies just lump stuff about usually.
Yeah.
Crew.
But I would go on if you can introduce yourself to, you know, go to gigs of bands that you like and introduce yourself to the techs and roadies. The most important thing with all those guys is that you are unbelievably lovely and
unshakable.
Yeah, because this, like, right. Here's a really good example, right? So Richard, who is Simon Neil's tech from Biffy Clyro, he is up there with Andy Timmons and John Smith, you know, one of the nicest guys I have ever met in my life, right? Just adorable. I would adopt him if I could. Now, years ago, they were doing a gig this before I got involved, and they had a system and was using these magnetic foot switches, right? And they've done this massive gig. And Simon's makes this massive chord, and he throws his guitar on the stage, and it ends up on the pedal board, right? And the magnets and the pickups reprogram the whole thing before they come on for encore, right? And he has to go out, and, you know, it's like, you know, there was, you know, 20,000 people going, you know, chanting for Biffy. Someone's at there going, okay, right, I've got to sort this out. Sorry, Richard's like, Simon, just give us 2 minutes, mate, you know. And he's just so unflappable. Goes up there, gets, you know, does the data dump or whatever to get it all started up. But yeah, you've got to be able to handle those sorts of situations because they are. If you can't handle those, the stress of that stuff will eat you alive. Because the shows for those guys, if you're a band, a touring band, and you've got a tech, shows for those guys are life and death. You know, they put so much into it, and you know it's everything to them, and you're there to support them. you know, and so you've got to be able to handle and take all that stuff and deal with the level of stress that's going on around you with everyone else as well.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It's really interesting.
It's tough, but maybe find a local band and get a taste of it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ian Wilson, I would like to see an old Selma non-master volume as a pedal platform amp on the show. Yeah. 2 good friends of ours use Selma amps and really love them.
Yeah. Wonderful.
One of them is Paul Stacey. The other one is Robbie McIntosh. And
Mega.
cracking sounding things.
Paul Telfer says, Dan, why don't you like that Butterscotch 50s telly of yours? Paul, I love that guitar. It's an amazing guitar. Unfortunately, I have to sell one guitar to pay for the 65 telly that I desperately want to buy. And that's the telly I use the least. I'm going to sell that and the
Jaguar.
and the Jag. It's, you know, and it's if I had a choice, I wouldn't sell it because it's an amazing guitar. But, you know, I'm not loaded. And that the vintage guitars it's a big thing. So, I'm in love with it.
Just simple priorities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. But it is the Butters is an extraordinary guitar.
Gemma Seymour, hi Gemma.
Hey Gemma.
I went to Carnegie Mellon for BFA Theatre Production Lighting and Sound. There you go. So you can study for it if you want to do teching and stuff like that.
Is that New York, Carnegie?
How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Don't know.
It's a joke, isn't it? There's some guy walking down the street and he wants directions.
Right.
And he says, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? And the guy says, you just need to put in a lot of work and dedication.
Oh, I like that.
When and where are you selling your gear, Dan? Says Tremolo68. We think it will be for sale on the That Pedal Show store. We're just trying to work out the boring tax implication of doing stuff like that. But in the same way that you can buy T-shirts from the That Pedal Show store, we might sell a few bits and bobs on there as well.
Yeah.
To raise the cash. Paul West, love the Jazzmaster show. Do you plan on doing more with it soon? I really, really like the Jazzmaster.
You particularly play some beautiful stuff with it. I'm scared that if I played it too much, I would bond with it. And I'm not really in a headspace to bond with anything else at the moment. But it has a clarity, that guitar.
It's a great guitar.
It's a really great guitar.
I've got to sort the bridge out. It knocks when and it's not the bridge lock because there isn't a bridge lock on it. So I just need to get a mastery or something, or the British one, and just sort that out so it's doesn't do my head in every time I play it. But it is a brilliant sounding thing, and I am going to get some older sounding pickups for it.
Albus.ban says, missed your legends at NAMM. Hope all is well.
We missed you.
Yeah, we missed you. We didn't go to NAMM. We didn't go to Winter NAMM. We may be going to Summer NAMM in Nashville. We've been to NAMM. How many times have you been to NAMM? I think I've been 10.
My first one was in 1997.
Boy, oh boy, so lots and lots.
Yeah. I haven't been to every one since then, but
most of them.
More than not.
Yeah. So, and I think this year, so it was my son's birthday on the Friday when he was 13. Like, it's a big deal for him, and I couldn't miss it. And so I called Mick and says, "Listen, I don't think I can make it. By all means, you go." And Mick just went, "Oh, brilliant! Let's not go. Let's make videos here," which we did.
Yeah.
It's great. But I miss seeing, NAMM's awesome, and I miss seeing everyone out at NAMM. That's the big thing. Getting to catch up with all of our friends is great, and but hopefully we're going to get out to Nashville. I haven't been in Nashville before.
It's amazing.
I cannot wait.
It's seedy, but it's cool.
While we're there, I want to do a country music special.
Nice.
Yep.
Johnny, be good. Johnny, we answered your question earlier in the beginning of the show. Hello. Can you make an episode on wet-dry solutions with phase inverse pedals? Yes. We have touched on that before, but we did answer it in the thing earlier. Michael Wagner. Mick, do you ever play the Silver Sky anymore? No, I've had 2. Not that I've owned, but that have been loaned to me. I liked it very much, but I don't like it as much as the Strat. I think the 300k pots, a couple of other things about it, a bit too brash sounding for my personal taste. Killer guitar, but I like strictly vintage spec Strats with nitrocellulose lacquer is what I like. So La 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 la.
Ah, Mythos Pedals. Hey, guys.
Hey,
Hey.
Zach. Zach's coming over.
Is he?
Yes, and I haven't replied to your email, Zach. I'm really sorry. He's coming over. I think he's available on the 3rd or the 4th of February or March, which will be March. Or it might be the 4th and the 5th, and we should have him in and do a show.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Hi, Zach.
Lovely.
Sorry I haven't replied to you. I will do so after this. La, 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 la,
Right, how are we doing?
We're doing all right.
Okay,
It is... Yeah, we probably should think about it. It's nearly 6:45.
it is. Mick, what is that Telecaster behind you with the two-tone sunburst with what looks like a humbucker in the neck from John Smith?
That's not you, is it, John? Is it you, John Smith, of, our friend John Smith, or is this a different John Smith?
I don't know. His avatar is...
The geezer from Thunderbirds. Parker.
Is it?
Is it?
I think it looks like an elderly Parker.
Oh, no. Or is it the old ventriloquist dummy from Dave, whatever his name was? This is a Highway 1 Texas Telecaster, John, which I got many years ago and I relicked myself. It's got a TV Jones in the neck position, which is out of phase with this bare knuckle flat pole 52 in the bridge. It's an okay guitar. As you can
It's
hear,
heavy.
it's down to D. And the thing that it sounds great with is loads of gain.
Right.
It doesn't have a lot of resonance. It's a really super heavy ash body. Doesn't resonate well. What else? There was something else. Oh yeah, 10-inch radius board, might even be 12. It's just not. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But it does sound good with loads
It does
of
sound
gain.
good.
Sounds good down.
Mick is not allowed to play Telecasters on the show because I... See? Just leave me a Telecaster. That's all I ask.
It's not a fantastic guitar, unfortunately. Or actually, let me put that another way. It's not a guitar that I bond with.
Right.
So it probably is a good guitar for somebody else, but not for me. Right.
Paul West says now enough of a break, back to work.
Arnold Alanis. I still don't understand how to use drum delay. Can you explain how you guys use it? Listen to David Gilmour is how you use drum delay.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
How do you like to use it?
It's not my go-to drum delay. I'm tape, but you get awesome sounds out of the drum delay.
I use it kind of like you get a bit of a delay, but then it starts to sound like a reverb.
Right. Yeah. I use the Echo Baby, the real one, because that has a sound it's a texture. It doesn't sound like timed repeats or anything like that. It does. It just creates this wash. It's beautiful. But I don't use it that much. I'm definitely more of the tape guy. But you get some beautiful sounds out of that stuff.
Jonathan Morgan Price. Mick, let me buy that telly from you. I collect first generation Highway 1 Fenders. Some are dogs, some are credible. Tell you what, Chris Buck's Strat is a Highway 1, and that is a fantastic guitar.
Unreal.
With those Radio Shop pickups
Oh,
in.
yeah,
That is,
boy.
I heard that back to back with a 61 recently, and it was not embarrassed.
Right.
Yep. Really great. Okay, Jonathan. I'm not even sure. Maybe
$1 million.
maybe we could trade something.
Okay.
Yeah. Got any Bentleys? Right. We should probably, Dan.
Say, hi ho, and away we go.
We do. Rockstar. Are there any S-style guitars? Oh, it's gone away. Are there any S-style guitars with 3 single coils, classic from the front, but modern from the back, carved heel, locking tuners, C or asymmetrical cars? Yeah, Fender do those guitars. Check out the Elites. I think even the Highway Postmodern have a carved heel.
Right.
Sorry, the Postmodern series Relics have a carved heel. But yeah, check out the Fender range. And then, blimey, get into Sir and Anderson and all those wonderful boutique versions of S-style guitars.
Yes.
Great things. And I rather suspect in the mid-price range as well, you can probably find stuff like Chapman and I don't know, some of those mid-price brands that do those sorts of features. A pretty popular feature set, that kind of thing.
The Holy Moly says, have you heard from or seen Johnny Kincaid lately? No, but I am going to go and see him because I want to get a setup done and film with him a bit more and just to see how he's getting on with my guitar. Just make sure it's like, hey man, come on.
Make sure it's still
You know,
happening.
hey.
Rory McClellan, how do you like the way huge analog delays?
Great.
Aquapus is a thing of
Yeah, magic.
music history.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't own any. I'm not quite sure why that is, but yeah.
Cool. Right, there we go. Quarter
Yes.
7.
Yes. Yes. Come on, I just want one great one to finish it off. Let's finish off with Mark Coote. What's the worst pedal you've ever bought, Dan? And your guilty pleasure pedal?
Man. Worst pedal I've ever bought.
That's the worst pedal I've ever bought. Best sounding, worst performing pedal.
I got, for the budget show, I got a Amazon Prime like £30 analog delay. So I thought I'm going to get the cheapest things I can, and it had to be Prime. It couldn't be normal Amazon. It had to be, you know, Amazon Prime, be able to be delivered next day. And it was embarrassing how bad it was. You know, I didn't want to.
That was the delay, wasn't it?
That was the delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't actually use it on the show.
Got a guilty pleasure?
A guilty pleasure.
I'm not sure I do, actually.
I don't feel guilty about using any gear.
Exactly. Exactly.
I got over my guilt about using gear that was way too expensive for me years ago. Now I'm just...
But guilty pleasure is something like when you listen to Kylie Minogue and you don't want to admit it.
Oh, okay. Boy, oh boy. Do I have a guilty pleasure?
I don't.
No.
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 Okay.
I don't...
No guilty pleasures here.
Yeah, No, I get it. Like, if I was a big Metal Zone fan, that might be considered a guilty pleasure. And they're great.
I'd be loud and proud about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I can't make them sound any good. Simon Neil makes them sound unbelievable. Yeah, but no real guilty pleasure. Oh, hang on. Well, no, it's not a guilty pleasure. My synthwire. What's the green synthwire that I use? Is it not DAD?
Digitalk.
Digitech.
Digitalk.
Digitalk.
Right, come on, let's
Yeah.
go. We've got
All right.
loads of flipping spammers coming in now. So let's close this down.
Okay.
What is wrong with the world?
I know.
It's just, you know, the internet has made the world 5% better and 95% worse.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's not, you know, it's got its good points and its bad points.
Yeah. Let's give this up.
All right.
Spammers.
Right, cheers, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. thatpedalshowstore.com.
Buy merch, please.
Or preferred retailers.
All that stuff.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Most importantly, play the guitar
Yeah.
and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.